So, what did I think of BFA? Hello, my name is Dravot, and if you're tuning into this video, thanks a lot. Make sure that you like, you comment, and you subscribe. You could also check out my Twitter and Twitch for more content. I'm just going to kind of ramble along here and just kind of do a post-mortem of BFA and how I felt about this expansion altogether. When it first started out, it actually wasn't all that bad. I have to be honest. I was going through, I was progressing. I really enjoyed the story, right? You had three different stories for the three different zones to start with, and you had your battle campaign to kind of break things up as you went through, and you could do that as well as you were progressing. The big problem that I had is it was the strangest thing. It really was the strangest expansion because as you were leveling up, you got weaker. It was the strangest thing, and it was like really you fell off a cliff once you hit 117. They kind of did away with legendaries and just all the things, right? Everything stopped working once you hit 117. And you were really not powerful after that. It was a weird, convoluted situation. And as long as you kept your Azerite power up, you didn't notice the Azerite armor as much. But of course, after your dungeons, sometimes you had to leave your lower level gear on until your Azerite power caught up. It was weird. It was weird, and it was clunky, and it wasn't fun, right? We all have to admit that part wasn't fun. But by the time you got into the raid and started raiding, you kind of still had the same problem when the gear dropped, but not as much because the secondary stats weren't as much. So you had your first ones that came through, and those were more important. So that was fine, but even the raid, it still seemed like it took a couple of weeks until you were like powerful enough, right? With old deer. I didn't mind that raid. It was fine. It wasn't all that bad. But to be quite honest, as soon as Gahoon was killed, I took a break. I was like, I'm taking a break. I was just not really all that excited about it. Of course, when the next patch came out and our next raid popped up, right? Which was the Zara lore, right? Actually, not a bad raid. All right, not a bad raid at all. Very imaginative, great, awesome, had a blast. Really like that raid. I can't remember Azerite being much of a problem after. I think the gearing, there were just like a lot of growing pains when BFA first launched. But once we got to the patch with the Zara lore in it, things seemed to be kicking along, working okay. Not perfect. Okay, better. The raid was so good, it just kind of made up for all of that. And that was an awesome raid. That was the only good thing. Only good thing about 8.1, right? Or did they not launch it till 8.1.5? We do this by raid tiers. I raid, so that's kind of how I measure everything. Not awful. We'll say that. And actually, if it weren't for all of the gearing stuff in Battle for Azeroth and their systems that they're trying to play with, that when the Cahoon one was okay, right? I kind of like the basketball part, but other than that, that was just it's a starter raids. Starter raids are always starter raids, so we'll just leave that at that. But man, Jazara lore, that was a really good raid. If it wouldn't have been for BFA, I think a lot of people kind of missed out on that raid because they just can't do the whole BFA BS that was going on, right? And I don't blame them. It's fine, but that was a good raid. And then we get to what was, I don't even know what it's called. The Ashara raid, right? 8.2. This patch, we had Nazjatar, we had Mechagon, You had the nice mega dungeon, an amazing raid. Even the underwater boss. I like the underwater boss. Some people gave it flack. Is a little too easy, but it was interesting. They made it interesting. I really love that raid. I even did the whole achievement run on that raid because I loved it so much. So I actually stuck around, hung out with the guild, did the whole achievement thing to get the little. It's a yellow mana raid. That's it. It's nothing special, but it was still worth doing. I loved 8.2, and I think again, people really missed out if they didn't come back for 8.2. It's kind of tough if you're behind on Azeroth and trying to do the catch up and all the other stuff and all of these systems, and then you had essences added on top. Like if you didn't keep up, you were hosed if you came back in 8.2 and you didn't get to enjoy a really great patch, because they added a whole nother system in. So you have the Azeroth system. You're trying to build up your Azeroth. You're trying to keep up with your war campaign that you can't keep up with, right? It's kind of a lot to do when you're first coming back. Then you have all these essences you're trying to get, and you have to figure out how to get all of those. And if it's an essence, if you have to have like an essence and it's something you don't enjoy doing, like a mythic dungeon to get the essence you need to be really good, or a PvP to get the essence you need to do really good, then you just don't like it. That's the only bad thing about the essence system is, in Legion, you could kind of do anything you wanted. You could play the game however you wanted, and they would give you could get all the rewards just by doing the content that you liked. You could get a legendary just by doing world quests, right? Less likely than if you did a mythic dungeon runs, right, and get it at the end of your chest at the end, but it's still possible. My very first legendary came from opening a world quest chest. Oh, that's neither here nor there. They kind of messed up the essence thing. They should have, quite frankly, I don't know what the right answer there was. I think they just put a band-aid on this thing using the essences anyways, which are awesome. And then we came back to the Azeroth raid 8.3 and 8.3.5, right? We have corruptions added in on top of too many systems that were still trouble to get everything balanced. And I didn't even like the raid. I don't know why. I didn't care for the raid. I really hated corruptions, and I actually quit the game. I was like, I am not playing this anymore ever again. I was fed up because all of the good work that they had done in 8.2, and then they just come through with some BS idea and break everything. And they're lucky I decided to come back. I don't even know why I did, but Shadowlands is really their last chance. If they mess this up, I am completely done, right? And they're working their asses off to mess this up. I know it's not going to be balanced. They can't balance it. That's just going to be one of those things. But I kind of really want to pick the covenant that I want to choose. But in the end, it's just not going to be that way. I just have to, on my main, I'm just going to have to pick what's best is and run the covenant I want to do on an alt, even if it's not the best for them. But, oh well, I'll probably have a Hunter Night Fae. Just something, I don't know. Death Knight Night Fae. Who knows? That's the covenant I really want to run, but as a balanced druid, I don't know if that's going to be the best still. We don't know. We still don't know. It's like not that far out, and they make all these little changes. Like they just took the Kyrian covenant power off the cooldown. I saw it in one of my YouTube chats, and it's like, well, that one was tempting anyways, because if you're healing or you're tanking or you're DPSing, it's kind of like an all-around one. And now that it's off the cooldown, I don't know the answer. I don't know the answer. The Night Fae one seems like it's really bursty, but I do PvP, so it'd probably come in handy there. But then when I'm wanting to raid, it's not going to be as good as like a flat damage boost that I could do over and over that lines up perfectly with my other offensive cooldown. I don't know. I really don't know. That's a whole nother story. We're not going to talk about Shadowlands. Let's go back to BFA. And I still think Warlords of Draenor was worse. But this is just bad. This wasn't a great expansion. If it weren't for 8.2 and 8.25, hands down, this is the worst expansion. But I think that was just enough to pull it out, make it a little bit better than what Warlords of Draenor was. In my opinion, it is still better than Warlords of Draenor. But man, I did not have fun with this expansion at all. Like I said, I quit twice. How often does that happen where you have to, like, you're not only take a break, sometimes, you know, you have to take a break during an expansion. It's a 2-year long stint, right? You're gonna take a break every now and again. I even want to say I took a break a little bit after 8.25. I think I just did normal Jaina, and I'm like, I can't be bothered with heroic, right? I was just Azerite armor, man. But in the end, I made it through it. I toughed through the whole thing, but not the best expansion. Again, I almost completely quit. So there's that. But thanks for tuning in, watching the video. Again, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And you can always check out my Twitch and my Twitter. Links are in the description. Until next time, make sure you turn on war mode.